Well, Bernie Sanders has stayed silent on the email scandal, but Trump, he pounced. He wrote on Twitter today, the Inspector General's report on crooked Hillary Clinton is a disaster. Such bad judgment and temperament cannot be allowed in the White House. Well, I'm joined now by Liz Smith, the former deputy campaign manager for Governor Martin O'Malley, and Josh Holmes, the former chief of staff to Senator Mitch McConnell. Josh, I want to start with you. Trump has reportedly locked in this nomination, but we just heard President Obama give him a smackdown on the world stage at the least. And he still doesn't have an endorsement for Paul Ryan. So what does Trump need to do right now?
Yeah, before we get to what he needs to do, I just want to address the fact that the president decided in front of the world stage then was a good opportunity to engage in partisan domestic politics. I think presidents, Republican and Democratic presidents have an obligation when they go overseas to meet with world leaders not to undermine somebody who could potentially be his replacement. Whether he likes it or not, he's going to be the nominee of the Republican Party, and that's one of two people who can replace him next January. It's incredibly irresponsible in front of the world to try to undermine them like that. As to what Donald Trump should do, look, he's got a little bit of time here, fortunately. I think nobody predicted this, but he's got a little bit of time to try to get his knitting together and make sure that his campaign is working at full tilt. It's not currently. I mean, you look yesterday, they fired their political director. Fortunately for them, Hillary Clinton's not been able to sew up the Democratic nomination, and so they've got a little bit of time to put everything together. But really, that's what they should be focused on at this point.
But just to Josh's point about what the president said, I mean, I think we live in such a weird world and such a weird political situation where today, if Donald Trump were president, the mayor of London, who is Muslim, might not be allowed to enter the country. And that's a major problem. And so I think it's unprecedented. And I don't fault the president for speaking out on this because it is a major problem, I think, for our image abroad to have Donald Trump using such reckless language.
We're looking right now at an opinion poll. Opinion of Donald Trump, 58% negative among registered voters, 29% positive. He still has a bit of a problem.
Yes.
But Hillary Clinton also has a bit of a problem, this email controversy. You've dealt with damage control, Liz.
Yes.
If you were advising the Clinton camp, what should they do at this point with her emails?
Well, I mean, number one, they should get a time machine because they mishandled it so poorly from the beginning. It's PR 101. It's like the opposite of that is what they did. And it's some of the worst, I think, crisis communications that I've seen. What should they do now is, Joe Scarborough said it this morning, stop lying, stop digging, and they're not doing that. You still see them attacking the IG. You still see them saying it was all allowed, and that's not going to help them. I think we have a tremendous opportunity with Donald Trump to run against someone that people don't trust, people don't like, but when she obfuscates, when she hides the truth, when she lies about the emails, and when her team attacks independent investigators on it, it does not help her likability or her trustworthiness.
And that's something the campaign knows all too well. Josh, I want to ask you about Trump and potential VP pick. His chief strategist, Paul Manafort, has said that picking a woman as a running mate would be, quote, pandering. Is it true? What do you make of that?
Well, look, if you're selecting a vice presidential candidate purely because of their gender and how you think it appeals to the voters, then I think that probably is the definition of pandering. I don't think he meant to suggest that picking any woman would be pandering. Clearly, there are a lot of very, very qualified women out there who would make excellent vice presidents, and I hope that the Trump campaign is looking far and wide to try to find the very best man, woman, or whomever is qualified for the job.
Do you think, Josh, a woman on the ticket would help Trump?
Well, I don't think Republicans have done particularly well with identity politics. Anytime that we've decided that it makes more sense to try to, put a woman up because, women respond to women, I just don't think that's true. I don't think it resonates with a conservative message. I mean, the bottom line is conservative women resonate with conservatives, conservative men resonate with conservative women. Now, you've got to go out and find the middle of the electorate, and I think more people are concerned about what their economic policies, what their foreign policies, what their general view and what they'd like to do as president more than their gender. So, I don't think it's a great strategy to go after a gender-specific draw to try to get more votes.
CBS News contributor Frank Luntz had an interesting article today. He's calling this the election from hell. And he looks at his focus groups, he was saying, and he noted just how angry some of the voters are, especially women who he has felt weren't so fierce and angry and upset. And he was saying right here that the participants quickly became angry In his focus groups, voters are, quote, demanding that politicians speak as angrily and disrespectful as they feel. Is he foreshadowing a tone in the general election? Can we expect to see this?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a tone we've seen, I think, for the last few months, and I think that's why you've seen people like Donald Trump, people like Bernie Sanders, who really tap into that visceral anger that people have, take off. And that's why I'm dying to see a Trump-Sanders debate like they're talking about, because
which the campaign has said is a zero chance of actually happening.
But what great TV that would be, because those are two people who really tap into the anger people feel. But yeah, I mean, like right now, where things stand, I think we are looking at a race to the bottom in terms of both rhetoric and the attacks from both sides. Well, let's hope that the tone can be elevated, but I'm not hopeful.
What do you think, Josh?
No, I'm not. I agree with Liz. I'm not optimistic that we're going to have a high-minded debate here for the next 5 months. I think more than likely when you have two candidates that have 60% unfavorable ratings, you don't have a lot of options, right? The inspiring tone is probably off the table. You got to figure out how to be a little less unpopular than the alternative. And so I think we're going to see a race to the bottom, and I think it's probably going to be ugly, and we'll see what happens. I honestly, amazingly, I don't think anybody really knows at this point.
Okay, that's what makes politics so interesting. This go round, huh?
That's right.
Josh Holmes and Liz Smith, thank you both so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.